p.m. for Likkle Byte Ideas, where we discuss how Likkle ideas are transformed into big dreams. On the toolkit, and you will access a lot of resources. A lot of the information that we presented here today, there are a lot of activity sheets, so we encourage you to download some of that information. Also, there's a digital swag bag with... Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to be back on Little Byte Ideas. It's been a while and we've missed you all. It's been a really great break for us during the summer. We hope that you've been doing some exciting things. We, of course, have been in the lab creating and coming up with new content. And so we're delighted to be back. We hope that we at least were able to maintain your attention throughout our break with our newsletter. And if you are not yet signed up and you don't get the Little Byte Ideas newsletter, this would be a great time for you to send us an email at info@samuelfieldsconsulting.com to make sure that you don't miss out on any of our updates. So we're delighted to be back. Wherever you are around the world, I'm sure you're feeling the heat. There's a global heat wave, and we just want to say to everyone, stay warm, stay cool, stay hydrated, and take care of yourselves. Today, my co-host could not make it. She really wanted to be here, but she had some obligations. So I'm on my own. I have Nick in the background, our technical guy. And of course, we have a great guest that we are going to introduce you to as well. So it's my distinct pleasure. We have so much to talk about. We have our upcoming YOLO Summit in about 2 weeks. So a lot to talk about. So it's my distinct pleasure to welcome Mr. Mario Benjamin. He is the face behind FET Tracker. And if you're on social media, you've probably seen FET Tracker. I can't keep up with FET Tracker. You know, I'm not even into the FET life anymore, but I'm able to live vicariously because Mario makes sure that we are informed. So Mario, how are you today? Welcome to Likkle Byte Ideas.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your audience. It's a pleasure to be here.
Fantastic.
I'm doing fine.
Well, I hope you're getting some rest because, I mean, there were so many FETs throughout Carnival, and it continues. Yeah. So it keeps you busy.
It slowed down a bit.
Okay.
It slowed down a bit, but it's going to pick up again from about October.
Right, for Independence and then into Christmas.
Correct.
Yep. Well, we want to hear more about FET Tracker, about your organization. But of course, our topic here today is we really want to talk about social media. You have built a platform that's driven by social media. So today we're going to talk about social media and how it impacts youth spending. But before we get into our discussion, we want to do some housekeeping things. And of course, we have our YOLO Summit coming up. YOLO stands for Youth, Opportunities, Lessons, and Outcomes. This is our second YOLO Summit. The first one was virtual. This one is going to be in person. It's going to be at Julie's. Julie's is on Cross and Tanner Street. And here's the flyer. We're going to have some amazing presenters. We have Dialect. Dialect is an MC. He's from St. Croix. He has a learning method. He's a finance educator, and he has a very unique learning method where he combines finance education and music. So he's a rapper with Caribbean roots. And of course, you know that hip hop is celebrating 50 years. He is a hip hop rapper. And of course, hip hop, as you know, has its roots in the Caribbean. So it's their celebration, but it's also our celebration. And so it's a great time to be talking about music. At the core of it, music has a distinct kind of beat. It's all about the rhythm, and we want to apply that rhythm to our lives, especially our financial management and our personal money management skills. So the YOLO Summit will be on September 23rd and 24th at Julie's. It's from 10 to 5. It's a Saturday and a Sunday. You'll hear more about some of the exciting features. There's going to be a money jam on the Sunday where Dialect is actually going to teach a class where there's songwriting. People can put their thoughts, their mantras to and all of their words and rhythms. They're going to put them to music, and actually, there's going to be a performance, lots of prizes. It's going to be a very interesting way to get the youth engaged on topics related to finance. So we'll be talking more about that. And because of the YOLO conference coming up, of course, we want to delve more into youth, their financial habits, their financial goals, influences that kind of impact their spending and their decision making when it comes to money. So, Mario, we're going to get back to you. We want to learn more about Fet Tracker because, from what I can see, if you're having a Fet, if you're having an event, if you're having if you have a great restaurant that you want people to learn about, if you want to reach young people, it's all about Fet Tracker. So, Mario, tell us a bit about Fet Tracker, the genesis of it, how it all gets, how it all got started. And for those who possibly have not heard about Fet Tracker, just sell us on this very unique platform that you built for yourself.
Okay, it started about 2013. Before Fed Tracker, I was a blogger. So I used to look at current events, things that were happening in the Caribbean. I used to blog about it, and I made connections with some bloggers in Guyana and some other territories in the region. And then it morphed into a social media page at the time on Facebook called Sea Sun Tours. That started in 2012, and it was about pushing intra-regional tourism to um, get interest from um, Caribbean people to get them traveling to other islands within the region. So what I started to do is have a lot of trivia questions, asking a lot of historic questions about the islands, about the sites, and questions that about culture that some persons within their own territory weren't familiar with.
Right.
And we managed to we grew organically. We got up to about 13,000 followers,
Oh,
and that was at a
fantastic.
time when social media wasn't as monetized,
Right.
right? So from that, event promoters they noticed the traction we were getting, and then they approached us about promoting the feds, the events, whether it be Creole Festival in some of the other islands, some of the other events. And then we started to do photography. So we would go to Trinidad and we take pictures of their carnival there. We did Dominica Creole Festival. And locally, we were doing a lot of the pre-events that were leading up to Carnival. At the time, there may not have been as many events as there are now, but
Hmm.
there were major events like White Fest, if you remember, Stage,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so on. And that's how.
Fantastic. So tell us who your demographic is. Your main demographic. Who are you trying to reach?
Okay, our main demographic, we reach out to persons who are within the Caribbean region, persons in the Caribbean diaspora, whether it be Canada, the UK, no, and United States of America. So that's our chief demographic.
So the Caribbean
And
and the
we range
diaspora.
from 18 to 65 plus. We
Oh,
don't
wow.
discriminate from age, from an
Okay,
age
but your sweet
standpoint. We try to
spot,
give as much information.
right? But your
We try to
sweet
be as
spot, from what
widespread.
I can, go ahead. No, I was saying, Mario, your sweet spot to me seems to be trending a bit younger. Maybe the Gen millennials and the Gen
Yes,
Zs.
that actually was our intention to be universal, but the youth
Yes,
gravitate to us. So most of, in terms of our demographic, it's 70% youth, maybe 75%.
the Gen Zs. I can see that for sure. Yep,
Yeah,
and that's the language that they
correct,
speak in, so it's very appropriate. Now,
correct.
let's talk about the role that social media plays in purchasing decisions. And of course, we want to focus today on the youth. Leading up to our YOLO summit, we really want to look at their purchasing decisions. Tell us, from your vantage point as a marketer, what role does social media play? How does this all work?
It plays a huge role. As you know, after World War II, consumerism, the consumer society, it became a thing because of the production that was going on in the United States. And then they needed to move from the production of bombs and planes to consumer products. So it became about the middle class in the suburbs and what the Joneses are doing. So it has morphed now to a situation that social media is this new tool of getting information across. And the Joneses are actually telling you what's trending and what type of fashion you're supposed to be wearing and the
Yes.
type of hair you're supposed to have.
Yep, it's
Um,
called FOMO.
and it really, yes, it's a lot of pressure on the youth
Yep,
because they're just trying to fit in
absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, media influences, whether it way before social media, television played that
way
role,
before.
radio,
Correct,
newspapers. I think the difference though with social media is that one, it is instantaneous, right? Because
correct,
whereas in the past you went through you're probably too young to remember the Spiegel magazine or the Sears magazine. Whereas in the past you'd go through a catalog or you'd see an ad on television and then you'd have to go to your phone, write things down, call and speak to someone. I think the big difference with social media is because the transactions are seamless and it's instantaneous. You can almost
correct,
shop instantaneously. So we're dealing with a much more powerful media now in terms of driving consumerism,
correct. It has the ability to make or break you within a 24-hour cycle period,
or less,
or less, or
or
less.
less.
So something
Yep,
could be trending, and 8 minutes later, it's not trending anymore.
exactly, exactly. So I mean, and transactions are instantaneous. They're faster.
Correct.
You can have something depending on where you are in the mail sent to you the next day, 2 days. So it's
Correct.
definitely a very powerful medium. So let's talk about targeted ads. Not many people understand how this works, but talk to us about targeted ads. I mean, there are a bunch of things that, we can talk about. I mean, targeted ads, and just tell us about how that works.
Okay, because of how the collection of data takes place nowadays, um, there's a lot of information that we as consumers put out there that we're not aware that we're putting out there. And this information is sold to companies who are doing advertising, and they're able to then break down specific likes, interests, your age demographic, and then they're able to then create ads that can specifically target a young woman who's 21, who works as a clerical, who works in a bank, or somebody that's a young professional. So the ads are very direct,
Hmm.
very targeted, as compared to ads in the past on the radio and on television.
Great. Now, so based on all of that, there's some people who are anti-social media based on that because of the how powerful it is and how targeted it is and how it can reach people and speak to them directly. But of course, we know with everything in life, there are positives and there are negatives, right?
Correct.
Let's talk about some of the positives. and especially in the context of getting people financial information. Now, what I like about social media, and it's seamless with things like Google and what have you. Well, first of all, there are a lot of people. This has its good and its bad. Some people do not watch the news, they don't read newspapers, they rely solely on social media for their news. Okay, so much so
Correct.
all of the media houses, the NBCs, the CNNs, ABS, wherever you are, if you're running a media house, it makes sense to have a very strong social media presence so that you can migrate some of your influence to a platform that it extends the life of your voice, it extends your stories. Okay, so we
Correct.
social media is fantastic for some people who don't want to hear the whole news story. They just want the headlines, and I think younger people are like that. So social media has that ability where it can get news to travel quickly. Something happens, some celebrity passes away, something happens on Market Street, somebody in Africa, an Antiguan living in Africa will know about it sometimes before people locally
Correct.
because of social media.
And, and people like the interactive nature of social media because they're
Yes,
following the thread to see the comments that are coming in and to participate in that as well too.
yes. And that's all a part of FOMO, the feeling of being, what is FOMO? Feeling of missing out. So social media definitely has that impact. So there is the news aspect of it, which I
Correct.
think is a positive. The fact that think about disasters and how it has worked in even some of the features where it allows people to be identified in cases of disasters. I
Correct.
think that's pretty cool. That's a very very positive aspect
Correct.
of it. Another
And
aspect.
it has been an exponential change.
Oh, absolutely,
It has been an
absolutely.
exponential change. Yeah, over 15 years. It's incredible.
Yep. But from a shopping and spending standpoint as well, even though it has some vices where people can get carried away, I think social media presents an opportunity for people to make smarter choices. Right? You can actually do some
Correct.
research. You on the company, a company presents certain products or services, and you can actually do your research. You can engage them. You can ask questions. They're the reviews
Correct.
that people use. So I think it's all a great trend.
Yes, it is. Yeah, employers use social media to track prospective employees.
There's another thing. That's a whole other topic where we encourage the youth to be responsible. But let's talk about. We're here to talk about financial education. And so we've
Right.
established that, listen, social media works, it's instantaneous, it's effective. You can target people, you can get your message sharpened. People don't have to watch a whole television show, you don't have to watch a 30-minute newscast to know what's going on. So it has that sharp focus, it's instantaneous, it reaches the right people. How do we then leverage social media, perhaps on a platform like yours, to educate the young people on how they can improve their financial habits? Everybody wants to have fun, but how
Okay.
do we get them that message about being more responsible in managing their money?
Right. Okay. So you broke up a bit, but I'm getting the gist that you're asking how can social media be used to educate young people about financial matters?
Correct. Correct. Yes.
Okay. Well, it's a tool where used responsibly by individuals who have that experience in terms of experience and training in terms of financial responsibility. I've seen videos on TikTok and on YouTube, for instance, where persons advise on the best way to invest, things not to invest in, um, about mistakes that they would have made when they were younger. And young people they like to hear something that is real that they can relate to. So if someone is relating that, look, I made some errors financially, I lost all my money, I was broke. Like you see, like a headline, you'd see a headline that flashes like, I was broke, now I'm a millionaire. And these things are engaging for young people to show them that there are things that they can do with money to invest their money properly and to be responsible with their finances.
How can organizations like yours join the conversation, join the discussion, provide content to help guide some of the partygoers? Of course, we're a hospitality driven type of society. So we welcome all of the FETs. It generates jobs, it creates income for the younger people. We know younger people have that entrepreneurial spirit. They want to have their, even if they have a job, a trade, they still want to, have a side hustle. But how do organizations like yours and other platforms that use social media, how can you join the movement in terms of providing more
Well,
education options?
our messaging needs to reflect that persons who are following us need to be responsible. It's like I put out the messaging to drink responsibly. I put out messages about drink driving or drunk driving, and it's in the same way we can act as an avenue where a Megan Fields, like your company,
Hmm.
can provide this information. We can be a platform for companies to provide information about responsible finances. Because I think it's a topic that young people don't think about too much because um, when you're younger, you tend to live in the moment
Yes,
and you don't you're not looking down the road necessarily. But then if you're advised by persons who have experience and have that training, and you're directed in a particular way, it could make life changing. It could be a life changing thing.
absolutely. What do you think the general attitude is to money management among your population, the people that you reach? I know that your message is usually more about getting the word out that this event is happening, you can't miss it, you can't miss this hip restaurant. I really like what you're doing as well with pushing some of the vendors that help to support entertainment, the hairdressers, the weave companies, the transportation. I like the Antiguan spin on the Uber. I think that's pretty cool. um, what is your sense, or do you have a sense as to how focused young people are on money management and managing their personal finances?
Uh, at this time, I would say that most young persons are that they're in a party mode. A lot of it has to do with um, the lack of opportunities in Antigua and Barbuda, and I think it's an escape avenue. People look at it
Mhm.
as a way to escape.
Right.
And I think it goes back to being able to create some opportunities for young persons to be entrepreneurs. So I take it from the angle too that that's why I use my platform to promote small businesses. So it's
Yes.
not just an event based thing, but I'm also giving persons who have businesses an opportunity to sell their products and services to persons who may need those products and services.
Hmm.
So that's another angle of being responsible financially.
I totally agree because it's, I mean, earning money or earning more money, getting a side hustle, that's also one of the tools that are critical to financial literacy. Of course, you have to, saving, responsible spending, investing, um, as well as increasing your income are some of the tools that we recommend as far as better
Correct.
managing your money. Of course,
But
limiting
but
your
but
debt.
but, but you'd be happy to hear though that
Uh,
to go back to the question you asked previously, a lot of persons have approached me and said, Mario, I'm gonna do 5 fets this year, and that's all. Or I'm not playing mass. I might just play t-shirt mass.
Mm-hmm.
So over the last 4 or 5 years, I've seen a shift, and persons seem more focused on dealing with their school fees, dealing with their personal finances.
Right.
I even get calls from persons who are looking to get a piece of land or home. So I think what happens is that probably if we break it down, between
Uh-huh.
18 and 22, they're partying straight through. When they hit about 23, then they start to think about maybe a vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
um, taking care of their child because they probably have a child by then, what private school they're going to send them to. And then when they hit about 30, that's when, it's about getting a place to live, a piece of the rock. So I'm seeing over time I've seen a shift.
Mm-hmm. No, that's great. That's great. I also wanted to talk to you about I was doing some reading and I recognize that Facebook, Facebook and Instagram are definitely universal. Everybody uses them. But I've
Correct.
been seeing that with the younger generation, there's some people who stay away from Facebook. And I saw a statistic that said for some of the younger people, and these are more Gen Zers, they use when they come to Facebook is more for a sanitized experience because they know their parents may be on Facebook, relatives, older relatives,
Correct.
employers are more likely to be on Facebook. So they come to Facebook for more of a
Correct.
sanitized type of experience. They may let loose a little
Correct.
more on Instagram, but when they really want to talk
And
to each
TikTok.
other and communicate, it's TikTok. What trends have you seen,
Correct.
and how is this playing out in Antigua and Barbuda?
Well, interestingly enough, Antigua goes contrary to most places in the world. Facebook is still number one in Antigua, and I
Wow.
think it's a cultural thing. I
Why do
think
you think that is, though?
Antiguans like, say again,
Why do you think that is?
because they're coming on Facebook to see or to hear or to get information on what's going on and to be kept up to date on what's happening. What we'd say, to mind other people's business,
Right. So they may not
and
engage,
that's
they may
plain
not
and
like
simple.
or comment, but they're watching.
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
I'll
Gotcha.
give you an example. If I make an error in posting, um, it mean not I will find out from the promoter, and the promoter will send me a screenshot.
But you may not see anybody saying anything online.
No, they're not going to say
That's
anything.
interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting. So they're
So
watching and
it's in line
waiting.
with what you're saying.
Yes.
Correct. It's in line with what you're saying. They're coming because of the fact that they know that their parents and other persons are on board. They're not saying much, but they are watching.
Yes. Yes. How about in terms of gender? Have you seen any differences in terms of the level of engagement on Facebook versus other platforms?
Okay, the level of engagement on other platforms is much better, and the reason is, when Facebook started, Facebook used to be a free platform where you could set up a page and you're able to reach persons purely based on your content. That's why when we had season tours, we did so well because our content was very engaging. But
Hmm.
now with the monetization and the algorithms and all this kind of thing,
Yes.
you have to almost spend money to get people to engage with you on Facebook. It's not like
Right.
that on TikTok. So that's why a lot of young people are actually gravitating towards TikTok because they're able to get more followers, more engagements, etc.
Right. Right. And they know that their parents won't be looking over their shoulders. So, what are the next steps for Pet Tracker? You've created an amazing platform. You've been able to help spread the word. I say, you've revolutionized or helped to revolutionize entertainment in Antigua because it's one thing to have these events, but then creating that hype, getting the word out, making it seem exciting, creating that FOMO. I think you definitely have to take credit for doing a lot of this. So people like me from a distance can almost live vicariously through Vet Tracker. So what's next for Vet Tracker?
Thank
You have the entrepreneurship, you have the high level marketing. Where do we take this next?
yeah. Thank you for your kind words, first of all. And I'm glad that
That's
I'm
okay.
able to provide that service. The next level, we're looking to evolve it into, I guess everything in life goes full circle. So what I spoke about earlier with season tours being a site where you were able to book accommodation, etc., and travel from island to island. We are looking to encourage more of that, more interregional travel, more people staying in other territories and learning about each other, and that's our ultimate goal at this point.
Fantastic. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, and we're doing really good on time, is pretty much how do we get the message out to the youth about spending? Let's talk about spending. Interestingly, I was preparing for our next newsletter. We always try to use, our newsletter is a lifestyle newsletter. We try to pick topics that seem unrelated to finance and then reel you in. So it's more of a lifestyle approach. Ultimately, it's a financial message, but we just don't come out and start talking about responsible spending. So we always look for, we have a content calendar. We try to see what's going on. And so this week we kind of talked about, our second anniversary of the show and the newsletter. Next week, our newsletter comes out every Monday. Next week will be 9/11. I just happened to realize that when I was putting my dates together. So, of course, we're looking at, how the world has changed since 9/11. This year it's going to be the 22nd year. Unbelievable.
That's true.
And I saw a statistic that said more people, well, I guess, how do I put this? When you ask people what they were doing on 9/11, most people were either not born or most people were too young to remember, meaning that, it's the, no, but 22 years have passed. So now so many new
That's
people
true.
have been born, and a lot of people, if you're maybe less than maybe 8, you really don't, remember. So a
No,
generation or several generations have passed in 20 something years. Okay, I thought that was pretty telling. But what's also interesting, Mario, people who were born in 2001 are looking to graduate college this year. Isn't that amazing? So, one of the things we're going to be looking at is Gen Zers. Gen Zs, I think, start somewhere in, the 80s. Or is it no, I think in the 90s. And Gen Zers, when you look at people born in 2001, this is the first generation that was born with technology. People born in
correct,
2001, they were born with cell phones, they were born with Google, they were born
correct,
with, they're digital natives. So, this
correct.
new generation, the challenge that they are having is they're going to get a lot of their advice from online sources and digital sources. Whereas in our day, and
Right.
maybe our parents, you could go to a bank, you could go to a credit union, there was a financial advisor. There's been a shift now where a lot of that communication is digital. So there you don't have the same
Right.
human interaction in terms of getting
Correct.
financial advice. I thought that was
Yeah.
very
And then what? Mhm. And then what? And then you have to look at, okay, what? How do you know that the information is credible? Yeah.
exactly.
That's where
And then there's also
that comes
fraud.
into play as well.
And then there are people who prey
Yeah.
on digital sources, and there's fraud.
Correct.
So I think it's going to be very interesting because we are, this whole generation, They have nothing to compare it to.
Hmm.
They were born and ushered
No,
in a digital age.
and add artificial intelligence to it, add AI to
Oh
it,
my
it just
goodness,
complicates
yes.
it further.
Oh my goodness, yes. But what I thought was very interesting is when they surveyed a lot of these younger Gen Zers and they said to them, "Where do you get most of your financial advice?" They said their parents. I did not expect that.
Oh, so yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
Yep. And I think what it is, because they're so used to, they take the digital sources for granted, and maybe in a lot of instances it's not even credible. They still want that
Correct.
human voice. So the pendulum has swung so far that now they're coming back to they want to hear the stories, they want to hear the experiences, they want their financial
Yeah.
advice to be fed
Hmm.
to them in a way that is anecdotal. It has references as opposed to
Correct.
speaking to a bot, speaking to a digital source. So I'm just wondering,
Correct.
to what extent do you see an organization like yours that's totally digital? What ideas or opportunities that have you identified to bring things back to the basic in terms of communicating directly with some of the youth? Because there seems to be a void and a yearning for more discussions.
Yeah. I think that we would have to partner with yes, you're still there?
I'm here.
Okay, good.
Are you-
Yeah, we would have to partner with persons like like your organization and organizations which are similar to bring that information to the people. We would act as a platform to do that. Because Fed Tracker isn't an organization known for um, financial responsibility, but it's known for an organization that provides information and credible information. So I think we could use our reputation as a trusted source to get this information communicated to the young.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to take a quick break. And Nicholas, let's know if there are any questions. We like to give our viewers a chance to comment. And okay, Mario, do you want to take that question? You want to take that comment?
That's Miriam Samuel. Good afternoon.
Yes,
Welcome back.
yes.
That's the one I'm
She,
seeing.
she knows you very well.
Oh, oh, Miriam. Oh, okay. Nice. Oh, good day out here.
Okay. Althea, we see you. Yes. So
Yes.
it looks like those were the only two comments that we had. And we want to welcome
Right.
everyone. We're having such a great discussion. If you have questions about youth spending, or even if it's not youth spending, but if you have questions about social media, just so you know, Mario Benjamin is the founder, marketing director of FET Tracker. Even if you're not into FETs, he promotes events, entrepreneurs, experiences, products, services. Mario, how large is your following?
Yeah, I lost you for a bit.
Oh, I said, how large is your following?
Say again.
How large is your following? Okay, it looks like Mario is, yeah, it looks like we've lost Mario, but we are almost to the end of our show. If he rejoins, we'll probably just wrap it up. But I want to take the opportunity to invite everyone, if you're between the ages of 15 and 35, we invite you to sign up for the YOLO Summit on September 22nd and 23rd. It's going to be in person. It's going to be at Julie's Sweet Spot which is on at the corner of Cross and Tanner Streets. A lot of our carnival events happen there. And at the YOLO Summit, the theme is going to be finding your financial rhythm. And your financial rhythm, we're focusing a lot on music, but we're also focusing on other art forms. We're focusing on pottery. We're focusing on the creative side and our culture as well. So, this is a learning method that is used by Dialect, a finance educator who was born in St. Croix, but he travels all over the United States, linking financial education with music and creativity. So if you're between the ages of 15 and 35, or you have relatives, children, grandchildren who are in that age group, we encourage them to sign up by going to samuelfieldsconsulting.com and sign up for the YOLO Summit on September 22nd and 23rd. It is going to be a life changing experience where they will learn so much about music, money, and their financial future. So, Mario is not back. We also want to encourage those who are in that age group to become a youth financial ambassador. Youth financial ambassadors are going to be part of a small group where you will be mentored, you will get hands on training, you'll get to network with other youth. As Mario and I were talking about earlier, this is an opportunity for that type of peer networking. We talked about FOMO. FOMO means the feeling of missing out. Young people are very much under the influence of their peers. So we're going to bring a nice group together of people who are very astute but very concerned about planning a strong financial future. And so there's also information on our website uh, for anyone who wants to sign up as a youth financial ambassador. You will get an e-badge of achievement for being a part of this initiative, and hopefully it's something that you can use to help you leverage your future. So, youth financial ambassadors, we're registering now, and we encourage everyone between the ages of 15 to 35 who want to secure a better financial future to sign up to become a youth financial ambassador. Well, it looks like we have lost Mario, but we had a very interesting discussion. I encourage you to go to Fet Tracker to follow Mario on Facebook so that you can be in the know with all of the events happening in Antigua and Barbuda. And as he explained, his reach goes beyond Antigua and Barbuda. He's all over the Caribbean. So it's a good way to keep abreast of what's going on in some of the other islands. But he also does a lot of spotlights on entrepreneurs, lots of unique services. So I encourage all of you to sign up and go and be a part of the Fet Tracker following. Mario is back, so that you can be abreast of some of the creative endeavors that are ongoing in Antigua and Barbuda. It looks like we lost you for a little bit, Mario. Looks like can you hear me? Okay, he's back, but I'm not sure he can hear me. Okay, Mario, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
I
great.
seem to
Looks like we
have
lost you for a
a
little
bad
bit. We're
connection. I
glad you're
believe it's on
back.
my end.
Yep, but we're looking to wrap up.
Yes.
So we just wanted to give you a chance to encourage people to join Fet Tracker. What are your closing words, and how can we collectively contribute to the financial education of our youth and the people that you influence? Okay, it looks like
Sorry.
he's still. Okay, it looks like
Yes, sorry.
Mario.
You were asking me for my closing words?
Yes, I was asking for your closing words, and how can folks learn more about Fet Tracker?
Okay. My connection is really bad at this time, but I would just like to thank you for inviting me on to do this interview.
Okay, looks like we've lost Mario. He has a bad connection. Well, folks, uh, we want to thank all of you for joining us. This has been a great discussion. We were speaking with Mario Benjamin. He is the marketing director and founder of Vet Tracker. That it's a digital platform that keeps you abreast of all of the events, uh, emerging entrepreneurs and trends in Antigua and Barbuda, as well as throughout the Caribbean. You can find Mario at on Facebook, on Instagram, Vet Tracker. I encourage all of you, if you're not following Vet Tracker, to become a part of that movement. So it's been a great discussion. Of course, our topic today was how social media influences youth spending, the impact that social media has on youth spending. And so we really delved into some of the trends, how it really works, how they use ads to target the right prospects, the fact that people use social media for good, some of the risks of using social media. There can be instances of fraud, but all in all, social media is a language that's used by a lot of young people. And so we're talking to Mario to see how we can use social media more to help the youth cultivate better spending habits and better financial habits. So, Mario, I see you're back. We're going to give you a chance to uh, wrap up. Tell us a bit how people can be a part of your movement and how we can all work together to improve the financial habits of our youth.
Okay. Well, thanks. Thank you for inviting me on board again, and we will definitely become a tool to spread the message amongst the youth about financial literacy in future. And this was a very good experience for me because it opened up my eyes on possibilities that are there to be used as a tool to educate the young people, and I'm fully on board with that.
Fantastic. So, welcome to the family of corporate social responsibility, where we're going to make sure that everyone has access to great financial education, and so they can make informed choices in their spending patterns, better savings habits, investments, and also how they can increase their earnings. Those who have entrepreneurial pursuits, we want to make sure they have the tools as well to maximize and optimize their capabilities. So, Mario, I want to thank you for joining us. I know you're going to be a part of our YOLO summit. We look forward to hearing more about Vet Tracker and to really delving more into social media, how it can be used positively to spread the word and to support young people in cultivating better financial habits and setting financial goals. So, from the team here
Okay.
at Samuel Fields Consulting Group, on behalf of Megan Samuel Fields, who is not with us here today, our CEO, she sends her regrets, but we thank you for joining us, and we're back full fledged. This was our first show after a break of about 2 months or so. So we're happy to be back, and we invite you to join us next week for another edition of Likkle Byte Ideas. We want to thank Nicholas Fields, who is our technical resource behind the scenes for facilitating here on the show today. Thank you so much to everyone, and we'll see you back here next week, Wednesday at 5 p.m., for another edition of Likkle Byte Ideas. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.